again. We are back with our purse. And as you can see, it is looking much shinier and much cleaner. Now, for the frame, this is silver-plated brass, so there is actual silver in the frame. Now, I've got a little bit of a before and after. So this is the after, and here you go. You can see the before. Quite a bit dirtier, and of course the side of the mesh hasn't been cleaned either. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take this same Goddard silver polish that we have been using, and we are going to use primarily our sponge this time, which has already been dampened. We are going to see if we can't get some of this tarnish off the frame, and judging from our after, I think we should be able to do this. So, I'm going to take Goddard silver polish on my sponge, and I'm going to rub it onto the silver, and it should start to foam. Now, whereas with the mesh, we used the toothbrush, not so much because it was less abrasive, more abrasive rather, but because it would get in between the little bits of mesh and in between the little rings better than this sponge would. Here, because the silver plating could theoretically be removed, we want to be a bit gentler, plus we haven't got as many nooks and crannies, so we're using the sponge. I did use the toothbrush on the other side for some particularly serious tarnish, and I will again here if I need to, but I'd rather start with the sponge. And anywhere that can be cleaned with the sponge, it's better if we do it that way because it is gentler. Now the goal here is not to remove all the tarnish. As you can see on the other side, we still have some tarnish left in the crevices of the design. And I'm not really planning on cleaning that out because quite frankly it makes the design clearer. And also, this piece is old, and this is a work of conservation, not restoration, and so we don't want to entirely make it look new again. We just want to kind of restore some of the aesthetic that led people to purchase these purses and made them so popular back when they were in vogue in the early 20th century. And we can give that impression without making it look like it was bought yesterday, because of course it wasn't. And as you can see, this is already looking much shinier and much more silver, and a lot of that dark tarnish has already been removed. Now, areas where I might want to use the toothbrush, probably wind up using it in this corner. You can see how black this tarnish is. This is the type that I use the toothbrush on the other side. Also down here, because we decided not to take the mesh off, getting in between these rings with the sponge is rather difficult, and so I will probably run along the edge with the toothbrush first. But as you can see, the sponge is actually going to take care of most of it pretty gently. Now this polish, like the vast majority of silver polishes, of course, is chemical and a little bit toxic, so it's very important that when you're doing this, you wear gloves, and it does fortunately say that on the container. Alright, so sponge has done a good job. I'm going to switch to the toothbrush. Just going to get a little bit of the polish foam on the toothbrush, and I'm going to go at these edges here where I really need the bristles to get in between these rings. And also into some of the lower crevices on the design where there is more tarnish built up. Now in general we want this to have a kind of even appearance, so we will have to be a little bit more aggressive with the places that have more tarnish. Because unfortunately metal in general does not corrode or tarnish evenly. Now in a bronze, for example, that might actually leave a nice A's patina that you would want to keep, and it would in fact be protective. But with silver, the chlorides on the surface will continue to tarnish it further. So it can be beneficial to take those off. Patinas on silver, patinas of tarnish, are sometimes also left for aesthetic reasons or to keep an aged appearance. So again, it's not important that we remove everything, but we do want to help reduce the amount of chlorides, and of course, silver tends to be considered more aesthetically pleasing when it is bright and shiny, and we do need to take that into account because it is what would have made this an attractive item to purchase and to carry when it was originally being used. So when considering a treatment, it is important to take into account not only the historical value, but also the cultural values surrounding an object. Once more, to compare silver to bronze, a kind of greenish-bluish patina in copper or bronze is actually very widely recognized and not considered aesthetically displeasing. In silver, however, the blackish tarnish is generally considered to be aesthetically displeasing and is typically removed. And so unless there is a significant reason to keep it, for example, it is the result of a particular event in the object's life or was caused by the handling of a particular person who might be famous, generally it is considered more acceptable to remove it. I won't be quite as aggressive with all of these little contours in the design, simply because having a little bit of the tarnish in there does help to make the design more prominent, and because the level of aggression that it would take to remove it is probably not worthwhile and could potentially be damaging. This is, after all, only silver plated, and so there is a possibility it could wind up stripping the silver if I clean it too much, and obviously I don't want that. I'm going to give this a rinse. I think I'll probably give this corner a little bit more work, but we should see a significant difference. In fact, we're probably already seeing one. Let's have a rinse. This has been rinsed in warm water, it's tap water, patted, mostly dry with a paper towel, and as you can see, much less tarnished. We'll still need a little bit of work down here at the corner, up here in this corner, maybe a tiny bit in between some of these rings, but this is about the state to which I have decided I would like to clean this. As a nice even finish, most of all, for display, has that shiny appearance culturally we're used to in silver. There's still some tarnish in the crevices of the design, which honestly helps the design be more clear rather than less. If we were to remove it all, it would actually be harder to tell what the design was. So this is about the state to which we would like to bring it. I would like to bring it for purposes of display. And of course we'll have to do the inside as well, and this side of the mesh, but so far, so good.